Greetings from gray and pretty dry Alberta for a week before Christmas. Just wanted to say Merry Christmas to everybody. And there's been something I've been seeing that is just driving me nuts. And even our buddy Pierre is getting it wrong because he's not hammering the Liberals hard enough on the carbon tax. He's doing really well, but he needs to, I think, go into a little bit more detail, because he's basically saying we'll axe the tax on, home heating, groceries, and just a few things. But from what I gather these days, most people don't actually understand how a product gets on the shelf, whether it's food or a product that was produced, like blue jeans, for example, or a cell phone. People just think that things magically appear on the shelf. So I've made a quick little list here, and I'm probably missing a few things, but I just wanted to give people a visual breakdown, and excuse my writing, of the carbon tax and how it's on the multiple levels of our logistical and manufacturing chains. So if you were to take something, for example, like a potato or a pair of blue jeans, if they're even produced in Canada. These are just some of the steps where the carbon tax is added. So at the top here, we have raw materials. So raw materials for farming could be something like them preparing the ground. They need equipment to do that. They need chemicals and fertilizers. They need to rotate their crops and do different things. Farmers are very smart at what they do. But we need raw materials to create anything. If it's a cell phone, we need metals and computer chips and plastic and wiring and motherboards and whatever else is inside them. For blue jeans, you need the cotton or whatever fabrics they're made out of. You need metal, you need zippers, you need dyes, you need all the raw materials that need to come together, need to be shipped in from somewhere. Some are foreign and some are domestic sources, but you're already paying carbon tax on just the raw materials to arrive here, which is that first level of transportation. That could be planes, trains, ships, trucks, all kinds. They're all paying carbon tax on fuel. And if it's a new vehicle, they've paid carbon tax to produce that vehicle with all the raw materials they needed to build that. So there's already multiple layers of carbon tax on a product or a piece of food before they even get down to business. Next, you would need equipment. You need equipment to farm. You need presses and different mechanical things to produce products, like a factory where they may produce cars. You need robots, you need robotic arms, you need computers, you need all the machinery that's in all of our manufacturing businesses. That needs to be made. That needs to be transported. That needs to be the minerals mined and the metals and the forging and all the things to, say, make a 200-foot long printing press, or a robotic arm that builds cars, or a million other things that I can't think of at the moment. And again, there's another level of transportation on that. We need that equipment. Most companies don't produce their own equipment. Next is the actual production, manufacturing, and harvesting. It takes a lot of energy once you have the equipment and the raw materials, and then you have a structure or building, whether it's for storage for grain like a farmer, or whether it's a giant facility to manufacture things. You need that building. You need the steel and the glass and the rubber and everything that makes the buildings that we all work in. That's all carbon taxed. All those materials are carbon taxed. They have to be produced and they have to be transported in order to have a structure to put the equipment and the raw materials into to make products. And there's transportation again on that. You're building a building. You have to transport the wood, the metal. The windows are coming from here. The roofing materials coming from there. And all the things that are produced need to be transported as well. Next is, often products are not just shipped directly from a farmer or a plant to Walmart or to a store. There's a vast distribution and warehousing network as well. A product might go on multiple trains. It might go on multiple trains before it goes on multiple trucks to be distributed through the network, the arteries of Canada, the highways and rail lines. The warehousing. You need massive buildings to warehouse all these products before going to stores or before being shipped to another part of the country or the world. You're paying carbon taxes on that building for heating, lights, the structure, and that's just carbon tax after carbon tax after carbon tax, and that's before anything even gets to the store. And again, that transportation from distribution could be ships, planes, trains, trucks. Many people in Canada work in the manufacturing and transportation business. So a lot of you seeing this will understand exactly what I'm saying. Next, finally, is often there are delivery companies, whether they're big trucking companies or they are local smaller companies. Once the product has been distributed and the administrative side is handled, meaning there's a lot of people in offices that need lights and heat and air conditioning and need to drive to work on computers and answer emails and answer phones and actually make the manufacturing, harvesting, distribution systems function. There's the people that produce and there's the people that distribute. So all the people working in offices answering phones, that's the administration part of it, and there's also carbon taxes all over that. Go out for lunch, right? You work in an office, you answer emails, say you sell nuts and bolts. Well, you go out for lunch and there's carbon taxes on your lunch because of the products that were used to make that lunch and to heat the restaurant and to pay for fuel to get you to that restaurant. Like, we are paying a ridiculous amount of taxes, and it's making everyone's life harder. So, after things are finally delivered, you go to the store. Well, you're driving twice. You're driving there and you're driving back. So you're paying carbon tax on the fuel you're using. If it's a newer vehicle, you're paying carbon taxes on the manufacturer of that vehicle. It may not be direct, but the higher prices of vehicles, it's all factored in. It all trickles down to the consumer. So not only are you paying for this whole logistical chain of carbon tax, the store needs to pay for light and heat and employees and all the things that takes with running a store, refrigeration. For farmers, it could be storage, grain drying. Again, I'm sure I'm missing some things. This is just simplified, that the carbon tax is not just at the gas pump. The carbon tax is all throughout our logistical chain, from raw materials to you getting in your vehicle and driving to the store. And things aren't just produced and transported once. A product could be transported 5, 6, 7, 8, dozens of times till it finally gets to its final destination. And lastly, your home. We're all paying incredible amounts of carbon tax just to survive and keep the heat. And a lot of Canadians are suffering more and more by the day, deciding between heat and food. And I can't even imagine being a senior or retired or being on a fixed income, or maybe someone with a disability who isn't getting large wage increases or anything. And You know, their budget's getting tighter and tighter and tighter as everything gets more and more expensive. So I really hope that, like Pierre's doing a good job. I do believe the next election will be mainly based upon, carbon taxes, housing, can our country sustain what's going on. But if you look at the hundreds of billions of dollars that the Liberals printed during the pandemic, and we had, I don't know what it was, 8 to 12 interest rate increases, which also increases the price of everything. People renewed their mortgage, and their mortgage may have doubled or grown by a third, which is making everybody's life tougher. And the Liberals are planning on quadrupling, the carbon tax. So we're in for some hard times here, if harder times than we're having, because day by day it's getting tougher and tougher out there. But I hope more people realize that the carbon tax is not just on groceries. It's not just on the fuel pump. It's not just on the few things that Pierre is mentioning and the Liberals are ignoring. And if you think that you're going to pay all this carbon tax, it might be a few cents here, it might be a few cents here, but on every logistical level of all of our systems for food and products, foreign and domestic, everything arrives on a plane, shipper, or train, or truck. And I really hope that Canadians wake up and make some smart decisions here, in the coming future, because it's not going to get better unless you vote differently. I believe that we can tackle some of our environmental issues through technology, carbon capture and better filtration, and perhaps using some of that exhaust as turn it back into fuel for other processes, which companies are doing. But starving Canadians and making food banks go empty, and all the terrible things that we're doing, it's just not working. It's just not working. And I thought it was appropriate time, as many people are driving more now in the holiday season, buying gifts, seeing the prices of food and everything that's gone up. I hope some people see the light here and see that, it's not just the gas pump. It's many, many, many levels of our logistical systems. And until we get rid of this carbon tax, it's not going to get better. It's certainly a big part of the problem. It's not the whole problem, but it's a significant part of it. And nobody ever talks about the logistical chain. And I'm sure I missed some steps. Different products have a much longer logistical, you harvest canola, and you have to do all the farming and all the things that are on this list, but then you also have to send it for additional, whether it's seed cleaning or additional manufacturing. You could be sending some to Asia, some domestically, some here, some there. So there's all kinds of additional transportation and taxes and fuel being used that I'm sure I'm not even aware of. But I still have faith in Canadians, and I really hope that we can right the ship before we completely sink. But there's still hope and good out there, and it's a lot of you Canadians. So you guys have a safe and happy holidays and a very Merry Christmas. All the best to you and yours. Take care. Bye now.